Hello and welcome. My name is Taylor Magnus with Soka Consulting. With the latest 2025 R2 update just released this past Friday, as always, we wanted to get a video out surrounding some of those new features and functionality that we thought our clients would most benefit from. First, we'll focus more on core financial applications, and then we'll move into some new construction-related updates as well. So prior to this recent release, the joint checks functionality was reserved only to companies with the CRE subscription. With this latest release, this is being extended out to all Intacct environments. This will be a good enhancement and addition for businesses with those joint check needs, as well as construction companies that are joint pay heavy, but maybe haven't actually upgraded to the CRE subscription. We can see the review note here in the accounts payable area, but setting up the functionality is pretty straightforward and no additional permissions really need to be opened up. To enable joint checks, we can simply come into the AP configuration where we'll see a checkbox that needs to be checked, which we can see here. Now with that joint checks enabled, if we come into an AP bill, we can see the new joint payees tab available here at the top. If we add a joint pay to this field here, we'll see the print as is automatically populated for us, and this can be overridden as needed. If we need to issue additional checks to other joint payees, we can enter each joint payee on a new line. Later, when we're actually ready to pay the bill, we'll enter how much it is from that bill we need to allocate to the various joint checks, if that's something we need to do. So with our joint pay added, let's move over to the pay bills area. As we come in, we'll see we have a new payment method that we can select. Once selected, we'll see that our bills listing is then filtered to show only those bills that have those joint pays present. Once here, we'll also see that we have a new link here for pay details. So if we open that up, we'll see it's here that we can allocate those amounts. For each line, a separate check will be cut and issued. Now, there are a few scenarios that are not supported or we need to be mindful about. All of those can be found here on the release note. This next update actually came from user suggestions. We now have new warning that will call special attention when we attempt to either void or reverse certain reconciled items. So this is new to both AP and AR, but for different transaction types. So within AP, we'll receive the warning when we attempt to void a reconciled payment, manual payment, or AP advance. Within AR, this will apply to reconciled advances. And then the warning we can see here within the review note. And if we choose to advance, we'll just select OK. So this alert will assist in maintaining obviously the integrity of our bank reconciliations, while also giving the flexibility to manage those transactions effectively in the case that we do need to get those voided. So for this next update, there's not really anything to show here outside of the review note itself, but there was an important update regarding enforcement of permissions when importing posted transactions via CSV. So by enforcing specific post permissions, we can make sure that only those authorized to post transactions have that ability through import as well. And so as we can see here, users without post permissions will still be able to import draft transactions, granted they have the add permissions opened up in their role. For our next update, and we're glad to see this one, we will now have the ability to reclassify credit card transactions as well. So this is the same functionality, or at least similar, that we've had in AP bills for some time now, but extended to the cash management application for our credit card transactions. So similar to accounts payable, the button to perform this action becomes available on the credit card transaction at the point that transaction is in a paid or partially paid state. With this functionality, we can reclassify the GL account as well as add any non-financial information. You cannot, however, revise the actual transaction amount as this has already been paid, and we cannot change any of the dimension coding at this time. There are a couple of things to set up here. We'll need to enable credit card reclassification within the cash management configuration, which we can see here. From there, we'll just need to open up the permissions for reclass, which we can find under the cash management application permissions, which we can see here. Once we have that set up and out of the way, to see this, we can come into one of our credit card transactions we have here. And we'll see we have that reclassify button now available to us. Once selected, we'll see we can come in and change or add certain things at our header level fields, as well as change that GL account. But again, the amount as well as the dimensions are locked in, so we can't revise those. For this next update, I don't actually have it available within the environment to show as it's currently in early adopters. But I thought it was worth calling out. We are sitting in the release note, but if you want to check it out or maybe get further details on how to get involved in that early adopters program itself, you can definitely come in and dig into some of the release notes details. But for this update, AP automation within purchasing is receiving an enhancement that will add quite a bit more flexibility. So prior to this release, AP automation within purchasing was only for matching invoices against commitments and could not be used for standalone invoices. So if we come into the purchasing configuration, we'll see that we're forced to map the target transaction definition or workflow step to a source document. Standalone invoices have had to go through the standard AP automation within the accounts payable application. One of the major disadvantages of that is some of the rigidity of the AP approval policy rules that we have available within AP compared to purchasing. Whereas in purchasing, we have more rule types available to us, such as project manager approval, for example, as well as the ability to have unique policies for different transaction definitions or workflow types. With this latest release, as we can see coming back into the release notes, we'll have the ability to have those standalone invoice transaction definitions included in the purchasing AP automation, but without being forced to map a source or originating document. All right, time to move into our CRE updates. So with this latest update, as the title suggests, we can now generate lien waiver vendor compliance records for our secondary payees as well. Won't go into detail regarding vendor compliance functionality or setup, but if we come into one of our commitment records, we'll see we now have two new settings that we can manage. One for generating an additional invoice lien waiver, which if selected will automatically generate a second duplicate lien waiver vendor compliance record at the point invoices are generated or converted off of this commitment. The second is if we want lien waivers auto-generated at the point of AP bill payment. There are a couple of different options for this. As we can see here, Sage does caution against using the generate for all payments setting, given it can generate a pretty large number of lien waiver records as you'd expect. If you'd like more information on actual setup of vendor compliance or maybe just a general overview, there are several videos highlighted on the right side of the review note here. Our next construction update also has to do with our purchasing commitments. As we can see here in the review note, Sage has added a new primary document details tab at the commitment records. This will give us an easier way to come see consolidated information regarding purchasing order documents and related activity that's come in against those, making researching much easier. This will only be accessible through primary documents with the order template type, is something important to call out. To see this though, we can come into one of our primary documents. I'll grab up one of our subcontracts. As we come into the record, we see that new tab. And once in the tab, we'll see we have some summary information at the top here that includes accumulated totals. If we scroll down, we'll see we have a comprehensive view and the ability to access related documents and invoices that have come in against this subcontract, including retainage releases. And so this is all now at our fingertips within this one tab, which is nice. So for this next enhancement, really anybody that has some time working within Intacct CRE knows that the change order functionality, while powerful, can be a bit time consuming with a lot of clicks And so with this latest update, Sage has added a nice usability enhancement for project change orders. While previously, anytime we have to create a change order record, we would have to first create a change order record, save, and then re-enter to get any other details added or select any of our related change requests for inclusion. We can now do all of that in one step. And so when we come into a change order, I'll just fill in a few fields here that will allow me to pull in a few open change requests. We'll see that we have an option under both post and draft to save the record and continue on. If I select this, we'll see we now stay on that change order and then can continue on to start pulling in our related change orders in this case. Not a huge change, but Sage is continually looking for opportunities to identify areas that they can make more efficient. And this is definitely a nice change from a user input perspective. Now for our last update, and this is another quick update, but one we wanted to cover, we now have a new WIP history page included within the project module where we can see data at the job level for all of our previous WIP schedules. To see this, we can pop out into the projects module where we see we have a new area. With this, we can now more easily access our previous schedules, as well as with filtering, more easily see and identify any historical trends. Now, we've gone through some of the more broader updates that are included in core Sage Intacct applications, as well as our construction updates. That said, there are quite a few updates that we didn't touch on, as well as some updates that are related to add-on modules, such as Sage Fixed Assets Management, for example, that were pushed out as well. Make sure to take a look through those review notes and see what else your team could potentially take advantage of. As always, though, thanks for watching, and don't hesitate to reach out to the team here at Soka if you have any questions surrounding the updates or really anything having to do with Sage Intacct.